Thank you for the chance to talk today. My presentation today is entitled Books, Shortcuts to Success. It's not going to be controversial, and I'm going to talk about why you should read books, but that shouldn't really have to make that argument with this audience, I hope. Okay, so what is success? That sounds pretty vague. I'm going to say there's roughly 4 pillars to success: health, wealth, love, and happiness. Health, your physical well-being; wealth, money that you have gives you the freedom to do what you want; love, your family, your spouse, friends; and happiness, your fulfillment in life. So you can be like this guy. Alright, let's soak that in for a little bit. That's the face of success. And this is interesting. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett were asked, if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why? And they gave the same answer, which was speed reading. I wonder why that is. So the premise of my argument is pretty simple. It's that books are shortcuts to success because they allow us to bypass costly trial and error, and this gives us an advantage, learning about the world so we can be successful in life. And this is talking about not fantasy fiction books, but books as a form of education and not entertainment. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. That could be costly. We could die, or never, or we could be 50 or 100 before we ever taste success. All right, so I'm going to discuss 3 variables of books. One is format. Are you going to read a paper book, an electronic book online, or your Kindle, or an audio book? The author, I think this is very important. What gives this person the right to teach with authority on the subject? How much experience do they have? And the length or duration. Is this literary work several hundred words or several hundred pages? Okay, format. I don't think this really matters. I like paper books. I think it's up to you. If you can't read that, it says hipster Kindle reads paper books ironically. But I think you can create resiliency in your reading program by employing all 3 formats. You might listen to audiobooks in the car. Maybe you might need to take a break from e-books and touch a real book every now and then. I don't know. As far as the author and the authority, I would suggest doing some preliminary research on the author before you purchase a new book, such as their accolades, their accomplishments, other books or published work, years of experience in their field. If someone's only been at it for 5 years versus 35 years, they might not have as much to teach you. This is the gist of this is, as human beings, our time and energy is very limited. So when we want to sit down to read, we really only want to learn from the very best, you know. I think that's important. The length and duration. Why do I have to read books in order to learn about the world? Isn't reading magazines or online articles good enough? Why isn't Wikipedia good enough? Well, I'm going to answer with a metaphor or an analogy. A book is not a one-time event. A book is like a friend. It's you come back to it and you get different things out of it. And it's the extended duration of books that allows us to reach deeper, more intimate levels of knowledge because of two very, very simple ingredients, which are repetition or redundancy and time. And throughout a single book, you might be getting the same message over and over again, maybe in different ways that cause you to think more. You could call it repetition or redundancy. Redundancy might have a negative connotation, but I don't think so. I think that's a good thing in this case. That the message is soaking in. And time. Change takes time to change your how you think, because that's really what you're trying to do. With books, you're changing your thought patterns, because before anything in your life that you're behind the creation of ever existed, it had to exist in your mind, I'm guessing. And so these talking about deeper, more intimate levels of knowledge, you're starting where you're with the initial reading or hearing of this knowledge. You could just hear something like, oh yeah, I know that, but you don't really. You just read a Wikipedia article on it, Wikipedia is not a bad starting place to pondering. You're ruminating on this this topic or this theme, this skill, information, skills, knowledge to instinctual knowledge, where it becomes part of you. It leads to the embodiment of the knowledge just because you've spent enough time and done enough reps to get those results. Mentoring from books. Like I said, books are like friends. It's more of a long-term relationship. You can have the same book and you can read it several times a year if you like it well enough. And they give us access to mentors that are no longer with us. They're dead or otherwise inaccessible. For example, the picture there is Stephen Covey, who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You can't have a personal face-to-face mentoring relationship with him because A, he's dead and you probably wouldn't be able to do that anyways, but he wrote a great book that you can read. It's really accessible to anyone. And so, I know this is a brief talk, but I think it will engender a very good discussion. I said myth. The myth is that, maybe myth isn't the right word, maybe it's incomplete truth. It's not false, but it's incomplete. There's a myth out there that you have to go inward to find truth. You have to go and sit on top of a mountain and meditate and achieve enlightenment. I don't think that's the whole truth. I think there's some value gained in meditation and self-reflection. But I'm going to suggest that you go outward and download the consciousness, that's a good buzzword, or the knowledge of people who have gone before you. Like Newton said, if I've seen further, it's only by standing on the shoulders of giants. books are just a good medium from learning from other people, whether you want to learn, more about your profession or learn a new hobby or just learn about the basics like psychology or biology or physics. So that's all. That's it.